Dear students, good morning. Let us start the discussion on 24th February 2018 newspaper. The first article, Adopting a Wait and Watch Approach. This is about Iran-India relations. We have to approach this article from three dimensions. The first is regional dimension in West Asia. The second is nuclear deal and its future. The third is India's energy security. From these dimensions we have to understand. Coming to a regional dimension, you know that there are three axes of power: Israel, Arabs, and then Iran. So, in this case, Israel is moving close to India, and already there is a huge technology support, defense cooperation between India and Israel. Arab countries are important for India because they have surplus sovereign wealth funds, and the sovereign wealth funds are important for India's infrastructure development. And coming to the third angle, that is Iran, it is said to be golden gateway for Central Asia and Afghanistan to India. So this is the strategic importance of these three balance or three axes of powers in West Asia. So Iran is also important for energy security. Both Arab countries and Iran are important for India's energy security. So if you take US-Iran relations, they have many ups and downs. What are these ups and downs? So when the Shah was there in power, he has moved close to USA. Because of this, there was a revolution. So that is, Iran Revolutionary Guards, they took over the American embassy and took the embassy people as a hostage there. That has led to lower nadir in their relationships. And slowly, the relations have gained steam only during the Obama era. So these relations, the major reason is Iran nuclear deal. During Ahmadinejad era, the Iran has strongly pursued the ambitions of a nuclear weapon. So it has led the world to awake and take up the Iran nuclear deal. So it is signed with US, countries of European Union, Russia, China, along with Iran as the participants. So in these circumstances, the President Trump is very much against to this deal, and he wants to scuttle it in one or the other way. So for every 6 months, the sanctions which are lifted by United States of America need to be approved by the president, stating that Iran is stuck to the nuclear deal. It means it did not take up any violations of it. So Mr. Trump is not ready to sign it, in spite Iran wants to, or Iran is following all the rules under agreement in letter and spirit. So in this context, if sanctions are imposed, then doing transactions not only for US companies, even the other companies, is going to be very difficult. So in this context, what are the chances before India is the major question. And the third is Iran-India relations. You know that the Chabahar port, it is going to provide alternate access to Afghanistan, and Iran also provides India an access to Central Asia. So Farzad B oil fields, Tapi pipeline, Turkmenistan, not Tapi pipeline, Iran, Pakistan, India pipeline, all these are meant to provide for energy security. In these circumstances, how to take forward India's relations with Iran is a major question. So one of the things suggested is rupee real direct trade. So the banking channels, once they are closed, if sanctions are imposed, what is the way out? To what extent it is feasible logistically? These are the questions which are still remaining. So in this context, India is better adopting a wait and watch approach on this issue. The next article, Virtue of Reticence. So it is about the General Rawat's recent comments, political comments on matters related to demography in the Northeast and relations with Pakistan and China. He has stated that there is a demography reversal in these regions. First thing is the politics and the military, or bureaucracy for that matter, have to be kept separate from each other. Military is a no-go area into politics. It provides the necessary discipline and also trust for the people over the military as an institution. And the second thing, recently, Mr. Rawat has come into office superseding two senior most officers. Normally, the convention in the army is to appoint the senior most general as the chief. But Rawat had two more seniors who are being bypassed by him under the NDA government. And he making a politically sensitive comments is not going to go well with the democratic institutions. That's what this article states about. Canary in coal mine. You know that previously, after independence, India's coal is in private hands. Later, to bring in energy security, Prime Minister Indira Gandhi has nationalized the coal fields, and Coal India Limited is the monopoly to exploit the coal in the country. And inefficiency from Coal India, it has increased the cost of coal, and added to that there was no innovation. You know that Indian coal consists of high ash, sulfur, etc. So because of this, the calorie output from the coal is relatively less. So we need to bring in new innovation like coal washing, etc., to improve its effectiveness. In these circumstances, to make the coal available for energy needs of the country, government announced for the private players to come in. But how to allocate for, what is the transparent process that has to be introduced? This determines the quality or outcome of this particular decision. This is what is stated over here. Grid stability is the key. Now, the government of India, it has launched a project that is Kisan Urja Suraksha Evam Uttan Maha Abhiyan. So the objective is to provide for power pumps to the farmers. By 2021, they are expected to provide 1 million solar powered pumps to the farmers. Now, there are two advantages of this. Most of the discoms are in losses for the reason that they have to provide for subsidized power to the farmers, and the states do not compensate them in time. And second is, there is also loss of power because of stealing and because of transmission losses. If you are able to provide for solar generated pumps, obviously the distribution losses will also come down. As the free power is a political bargaining chip, a vote gathering chip for the politicians, it is also becoming a tool for over exploitation of groundwater. So for all these things, the solution can be through decentralized mechanism of solar powered pump sets. But what is the problem over here? The government stated that the excess power generated in this solar power pump sets, they will be linked to grid, and this will be sold in the open market. So when it is linked to the grid functions this way. Whenever there is an excess power supply, then it decreases the production. And then whenever there is an excess demand, it sends immediately the signals to the production points to generate the power. So here, the uncertainty in production of the power is the major challenge with regard to the renewable energy sources. Either it is solar or wind, they are dependent on the weather of the day. So in these circumstances, how to ensure proper functioning of these systems, stability of the grid is the major challenge over here. And the next is, police search Kejriwal's house for CCTV footage. Remember one thing, communalization of civil services, politicization, lack of trust, demoralization, these are very wrong terms in the functioning of governance of a country. So now, the events happened in Delhi. These have cut the communication links between political executive and the permanent executives. So if the permanent executives are not being accountable to the political executive and are not taking command from the political executive, then political accountability is in jeopardy. Why the democracy is the best form of the government? Because of existence of this accountability. So if once this accountability is getting diluted on one or the other factor, that's going to keep the governance in jeopardy. And US Titan's H1B process, IT firms were read. Now, though H1B visas, these are increased, but H1B process is tightened so that no one will be in a position to use them. So there has to be clear speciality of the candidate who wants to get the visa has to be established. There has to formal employer-employee relations in a third-party hiring. So why if we get a third-party hiring? The reason is simple. We don't need to provide for all the social benefits to him. But today, as we have to establish employer-employee relations, it is better to hire an American rather than an Indian. That kind of situation US is trying to create over here. And the third is, DD All India Radio staff to work in PIB2. So now who is the Information Broadcasting Ministry? Smriti Irani. So wherever she goes, there is one or the other issue with the establishment. So in Information Broadcasting Ministry, we have Indian Information Service and Prasara Bharati, which manages All India Radio and Doordarshan, is an autonomous corporation. So, as it is autonomous, there has to be arm length distance between the ministry which is managing its affairs. Now, PIB directly functions under the ministry, and Prasara Bharati, these are autonomous. How can we ensure the movement of the people between these two? That is the personal question. Because under corporation they have different set of duties, different set of regulations. Under ministry they have different types of securities. So how can we make them move? Second thing is, here, how can one man serve two bosses? In PIB, he has to serve a different boss, and DD and All India Radio, there will be a different boss. Clearly, there is a matter of conflict of interest. So, this is what is questioned by the employees in PIB. Government schedules meeting on Lokpal for March 1. So, you know that the Lokpal and Lokayukta Act was passed in 2013 itself. But still, it was not functional for the reason that a Lokpal need to be appointed by a collegium consisting of Prime Minister, Leader of Opposition, Speaker of Lok Sabha, Chief Justice of India, and an eminent jurist. These 6 members shall have to appoint them. But the Leader of Opposition is absent, and as he is absent because no party has got the 10% of seats in Lok Sabha, this process did not move forward. So in this context, the Supreme Court has stated that there is no necessity to have full collegium to appoint the Lokpal. So the government finally has sent invitation to leader of largest opposition party to be a member of this. This is how the issue was solved. And then NIA taps into legal aid pacts. Here there is one word, Mutual Legal Assistance Treaty. Try to go through that. There can be a prelims question on that. And then concerned about new Indian tariffs, says US official. So if you take National Security Strategy document, our defense cooperation where US has declared India as a major defense partner and India has signed the LEMO Logistics Exchange Memorandum of Agreement, all this shows that India-USA relations are all-time high. But when we come to the trade and commerce, there is a large trade deficit of US with India. So in this context, US wants India to reduce the tariffs so that imports can be liberal. And at the same time, India is also importing oil from US, shale oil from US, so it can reduce the existing trade deficit between the countries. But the recent rise in tariffs by the government of India to promote Make in India did not go well with the United States of America. That's what this article is about. Leaders break ground on Afghan sections of TAPI. TAPI stands for Turkmenistan, Afghanistan, Pakistan, India pipeline. So it's going to bring the Turkmenistan gas to Pakistan and India, that is energy starved South Asia. So TAPI pipeline. So there are many questions about gas reserves, estimated gas reserves in Turkmenistan, and also the security concerns in Afghanistan and Pakistan that makes to what extent it will be realized. The questions still remain in this. And finally, the notes is given to you. It will be available to you at likes.in/civils prep. Thank you very much.